Hi everyone, welcome to the Level 2 tips for the chapter, Oh no, I have to change the recipe. Let's get started. Number 1, if 40 cookies need 2.5 cups of flour, how much flour would you need to make 20 cookies? Okay, so my important information would be 40 cookies need 2.5 cups of flour, and I'm being asked how much flour I would need for 20 cookies. So what I notice is that 20 cookies is half of 40 cookies, so I need to figure out what half of 2.5 is. I'm going to write that. What is half of 2.5? So one way to do that would be with my fraction pieces. 2.5 is the same as 2 yellow squares and a green rectangle. So how can I split this in half? That's what you need to figure out. So for example, I can split the yellow squares in half by removing one, but now I have to split my green rectangle in half. If you can figure out how to split a green rectangle in half, add that to your yellow square and you'll have the answer to this question. Let's look at number 2. If you want to double a recipe that calls for 2.5 apples, how many apples would you need? So double. What does double mean? Double means I'm multiplying by 2. So if my original recipe calls for 2.5 apples, double that would be taking 2.5 twice. So 2.5 plus 2.5 equals. I can add the whole numbers first and then add the fractions to get my answer. Let's look at number 3. A box of Cheerios will last 6 days for 2 people. How long will the box last for 6 people? I like to draw a picture for this type of problem. So it lasts 6 days for 2 people. So here's person 1, here's person 2. And it lasts 6 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Person 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So that means if I had just one person would last all of these days. How many days is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So it lasts one person 12 days. Now, it doesn't ask me how long it lasts one person. It asks how long will the box last 6 people. So if it lasts one person 12 days, now can you figure out how long it would last 6 people? Take those 12 days, divide it up between the 6 people. Let's move on to number 4. A recipe for 20 chocolate bars calls for a ½ teaspoon of salt. If you are going to make 10 chocolate bars, how much salt would you use? So, important information, 20 chocolate bars needs a ½ teaspoon of salt. Question, if you are going to make 10 chocolate bars, how much salt would you need? So 20 needs a ½ teaspoon. 10 needs how much? So I notice that 10 is half of 20. So I need to take half of a half. If I go to my fraction pieces, a half is a green rectangle. what would half of that be? You'll have the answer if you can figure that out. Number 5, Pedro needed 75 cookies, but his favorite recipe for oatmeal cookies only made 25 cookies. Look at the recipe for 25 cookies and write down the new amounts for 75 cookies. Now the first thing I need to figure out is, if I'm going from 25 to 75 cookies, what am I doing to the recipe? I'm not doubling it, because doubling it would be going from 25 to 50. In this case, I am tripling the recipe, meaning I have to multiply all my ingredients times 3. So 1 cup of milk times 3. 2 cups of oats times 3. 1 1/4 cups of flour times 3. You might need your fraction pieces for that one. 2 cups of raisins times 3. See if you can fill in the new amounts of each ingredient. Good luck!